Okay, what's going on YouTube? This is part two of mass incarceration and what is mass incarceration. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Once again, I am King Manye, the leader and the captain of my destiny, and we're going to hop right into it. So as I was saying in the last video, mass incarceration is the practice of locking people up at a rapid speed for crimes that were only created with the intentions to criminalize the behaviors of a certain groups of people, certain class of people, mainly immigrants, poor people, and black and brown people. And so this now has led to what we know as today to be called mass incarceration. In this video, I want to talk about the causes of mass incarceration. The causes of mass incarceration, sociologists, intellectuals, people with degree, and those who know more than anybody else is those who've had this true to life experience would tell you that the causes for mass incarceration can be narrowed down to these three things. Number one, over policing in red line marginalized communities. I said over policing, meaning that not only is there too many police, but we value prison so much here in America. We value law and order, as they term it, to the point where we buy guns and equipment for our police more than we do or as much as we do for the military, our military. We have America government, all these states here in America, especially right here in California. What we have is too many police. We had. Now there's a different type of push, but when we had too many police, all of them not doing nothing of significance, this led to what we know today as mass incarceration. Over policing. Too many police in the ghetto. When you got too many police in the ghetto, all they began to do is target certain groups of people and eventually can lock them up for a petty crime. Crimes like what? There's people that I know of, like Milton Pettis, who is doing life in prison for conspiracy to commit murder. And for those that don't know, conspiracy to commit murder is a real charge. And this man is serving a life sentence for a crime that he never committed, for a crime that he never intended to commit, and for a crime that he never made any actions, plans, or preparation toward committing. This man is in prison simply because he listened to somebody's conversation on the phone, and that person's conversation was taken as a conspiracy to do some type of crime. And so he somehow, but this is not to talk about Milton Pettis, free Milton Pettis. I did a story on him before. This is to talk about mass incarceration that has washed away so many of our black brothers. And mass incarceration isn't a person. This is a practice. This is the practice. This is the policy, the fabric that makes up our government. This is what has led to our current prison systems. Right here in California, we have 33 prisons. In Louisiana, they have a prison system. Louisiana government is the only government where you don't have to be convicted by all 12 jurors. They don't have, it's not required in Louisiana for them to have a unanimous decision, meaning everybody doesn't have to agree. I don't think you understand what that means. That that's a whole nother video. But it's an injustice nevertheless. It's an injustice that is happening right now, and the purpose of my channel is to speak on mass incarceration so that we can educate the public, educate those who are listening, who are able to understand what we value here in America. I want to give you education on how the prisoners are currently living and why they are incarcerated. And also I want to give you education upon the realities of prison. And so I created this page, and these are the reasons. And right now, the cause number two, longer sentencing for minor crimes. Not only do we have over-policing in the neighborhoods, we have all these police, we had all these police, but we had them doing their jobs, assignments, frisk and release, or what was it, frisking. They had all these practices that led to locking people up. And then once we locked these people up, we made sure we gave them longer sentences. Longer than what? Longer than previously had been practiced and longer than necessary. What's the purpose of giving a person time anyway? What's the purpose of locking a person up, putting a person in a bathroom, throwing them away for 25 years? I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm asking a question that I would like us to ponder. Now, if the purpose of locking a person up is to rehabilitate them, to change their mind, then once a person is rehabilitated and the purpose has been fulfilled, should they not then be released? Once again, I am asking a question. Then I would say, is there any other purposes? Is there any other purpose for locking a person up and giving them such a long sentence? And one of the answers, the common answers, will be rehabilitation. Another common answer would be to deter people, from committing future crimes. The theory is that if we start giving out higher sentences, other people who may have been persuaded, convinced to commit this crime in the future will maybe be persuaded to not do it, knowing that they're going to get a longer sentence. So it's a deterrent. Does it work? I can't say. I don't believe it do. Because my part of what I believe is that mass incarceration, this practice of what we're doing here in America, is led to something that is out of control. It's led to abuse. It's led to prison overcrowding. It's led to justice being delayed. And I believe that there's people who can change, who can become rehabilitated. And once they demonstrate that, then they deserve a chance to prove that they have been rehabilitated, and they deserve a chance to repair the damage that they've done to themselves, their family, and their community. Another one of the main causes of mass incarceration, I believe, is parole. Once a person does go through all that they went through the system because of a choice they made, or because of a system that preyed on them, or a combination of both. Once a person gets parole, or they've done their time, they are now paroled with still 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that's basically the situation that I'm in, being on parole, wearing a GPS ankle monitor. This practice of what they're doing to me, what is being currently done to me, why I'm speaking out is because I am currently involved in a system, a predatory system, that is hell-bent on keeping me confined to a prison cell and restricted in life. So endless restrictions after you've been released. After a person's been released from prison, they haven't just been released because their time's up. That alone won't do it. I know many of men who have done their time but are still in prison, because people don't get released from prison just because they've done their time. You only get released after you've done your time and you meet the criteria of demonstrating you have changed and been rehabilitated, demonstrated that you have stayed out of trouble, demonstrating that you can coexist with people of other of different types of walks of lifestyle. That's the importance of why they integrated the prison systems and made 50-50 yards and S&Ys and GPs, because they say if you can't coexist inside a prison cell with people that are not like you, people who you disagree with, and people who you are enemies with, that you won't be able to coexist in society, and therefore you are still a threat to society. So this is the general thought behind some of the things they do. What am I saying? I'm saying that once a person has demonstrated that they have changed and they have been released from prison, that there is no reason to continue to restrict that person's life. And the fact that we still do restrict that person's life, restrict it to the point we restrict who they can be around, we restrict where they can live, we restrict what type of job they can have, we restrict their movement, we restrict their curfew, we restrict their health. What do I mean? This one's going to shock you. I am aware of women prisoners who have got out, who's been released from prison, and as a condition of their parole were required, mandated to take birth control. And if they stopped taking birth control, they were sent back to prison. This should be shocking to the American people. This should shock your conscience. This should make you want to investigate it. This should make you see if there's any truth to that. This is what is going on. And this is what is caused mass incarceration. This is why the current prison systems here, especially in California, are overpopulated. And this is why there's a big cry to defund the police, because we don't need over-policing in our neighborhood. This is why there's a cry and a push. And so part of my push as a prisoner, as a newly released prisoner with an ankle monitor on my ankle, part of my push is to help some of you see the causes of mass incarceration, so that you can be armed with a little bit more knowledge from somebody who's actually living it. And you can know that what's going on is nobody's out here just released from prison just because they time it. People have had to demonstrate numerous times after again by completing groups, remaining trouble-free, and participating with inside a prison. And then now that we're out, we continue to do that. And so for that we should be commended, and we should be encouraged and uplifted to reintegrate back into society, not looked upon or frowned upon and restricted to the point where life becomes difficult. Mass incarceration is one of the reasons I created this YouTube. It's one of the things that I hope to be a part of ending. This is a part of, and if you are with this message, if you have anything to add, if you have any type of knowledge to add toward this, please drop me a comment. Let me know what you know. Give me your perspective. I'm very open to listen. If you have any resources for people who may be just getting out of prison, or any advice, leave me a comment. If you like what you hear, please make sure you hit that thumbs up so we can keep the momentum going. I'm King Manye. I'm the leader and the captain of my destiny. I will succeed because I believe I will, and I was sent to inspire those who are great and sometimes tend to forget it. Please love yourself, love yourself, love yourself.